Today, I want to talk about the Libertarians' views and perspective on abortion. And I realize there's probably tons and tons of content out there right now on the topic of abortion and discussing the Supreme Court's decision to overrule Roe versus Wade and how that's going to affect us as a country. But I don't think there is a ton of content explaining the Libertarians' point of view when it comes to abortion. So that's what I want to talk about. I want to clear up some misconceptions and discuss the Libertarian Party's stance on abortion and also discuss my own position on abortion. When I campaigned and knocked on doors in Michigan, the issue of abortion came up frequently. It was one of the most asked questions. Are you pro-life or are you pro-choice? And they wanted to know, are you pro-life or are you pro-choice? And it wasn't a question I was very good at answering because, quite frankly, I hadn't figured out my own perspective on that, how I felt about it. I could see both points of view. If you think that abortion is murder, then clearly it should be against the law. But if you don't think life begins until the baby leaves the womb, then you're telling a woman what to do with her own body, and she should be able to have privacy when she talks to her doctor and make these decisions on her own. So I could see both points of view and hadn't really figured out my own perspective as a libertarian on the issue. So I set out this week to write about both what the libertarian stance on abortion is so that I could explain it to others, and also to weed through the issue myself. So when the next person asks me, how do you feel about abortion? I can refer them to this video and my blog post on Patty for Liberty, which I'm going to tell you I do much better with writing content than I do making videos. I've also written a blog post that explains the Libertarians' position on abortion historically over discussing our platform over the years, and also discusses my own position on abortion, and it's all written out on Patty for Liberty. So I've been in the Libertarian Party since 2009, and my understanding of the Libertarians' position on abortion was that we were kind of neutral and let people decide for themselves. And this is the position that's been in our platform since I joined the party in 2009, and it reads, recognizing that abortion is a sensitive issue and that people can hold good faith views on all sides, we believe that government should be kept out of the matter, leaving the question to each person for their conscious consideration. So my position, or my understanding of the Libertarians platform, was that we don't really take a stance on abortion. We let people decide that for themselves. But I've heard people say the Libertarian Party is pro-choice. And no, the Libertarian Party is pro-choice, but we have pro-life and pro-choice members within our party, and the pro-lifers feel very differently on the issue of abortion, and I can't really speak on their views in this video, but I do have a link to one of the debates from members within our own party that are extremely different. One stating that life begins at conception and abortion should not be legal even in the case of rape. And the other extreme says that up until the baby exits the womb, you can have an abortion. And these are two opposing views within our own party with our own platform. So I wanted to come to some consensus on my own on what the Libertarians' view was on abortion and kind of sort out my own view. And what I realized as I researched this, that the Libertarian Party has historically been pro-choice. And I've heard Libertarians say that we were pro-choice, but I didn't realize that historically, up until 1996, our platform stated that women had a right to terminate pregnancy. And I'm not saying that to undo or undermine the current Libertarian position on abortion. I'm just trying to explain why people feel that way and how our party has evolved over the years. So we initially were a pro-choice party as far as abortion goes, and over the course of time, our party has integrated and we've grown to accommodate lots of different members with lots of viewpoints, which I think is really great and what makes our party better. So the current platform that I've known since I've been in the party reads that it's a sensitive issue and that people can have different opinions on that in good faith. So as of 2022, at our most recent convention, this abortion plank was completely removed from our platform because there's just so much debate within our party on whether libertarians should or shouldn't be pro-life based on our principles of the non-aggression principle and on our libertarian views of you should be able to do whatever you want as long as you're not harming anyone. So there's some divide in the party, and I wanted to work through that on my own and figure out how I stand on the issue as a libertarian and kind of discuss that so that people that are curious about the Libertarian Party realize that we have some diversity in our party. We are as divided on how the country should rule on abortion as the country is, and I think that gives us a unique opportunity for people to join our party that are both pro-life and pro-choice and still operate under one party. As it is now, if you're pro-life, you only have the Republican Party as an option, and if you're pro-choice, you only have the Democrat Party as an option. And there are a lot of people that are pro-life Democrats or pro-choice Republicans. As I've seen when I was campaigning, we had a pro-life Democrat. Gary Johnson was a pro-choice Republican, and when he was Republican, and I think us having this removed from our party's platform really gives us an opportunity to grow, because we aren't making you decide on that when you choose your party as far as being a libertarian. Now, where that platform will be in 2024, I can't say. It's possible that our delegates could decide they want to put it back in. I'm hoping that we keep it out of the platform so that our party can grow and people can work that out on their own. Now that I've discussed the Libertarian Party's stance on abortion and where we stand as a party, I want to get into my own position on abortion and what I'd like to see in our party. So I consider myself a moderate libertarian. I don't have really extreme views, and I'm pretty open-minded. I hope to see a smaller government in my lifetime. I hope to see a country that can work together instead of the current war we have between the two parties with regard to culture, morality, and ideology. What I've witnessed since I've been alive is a two-party system that's failing us and leading to a larger and larger government and more extreme shifts in policy as one party's side overcorrects the other. I do not believe our country is this divided or this extreme. I believe that our two-party system is fueling this, and why the Supreme Court ruled the way they did. And I'm going to get into that. But I want to let anyone know that follows me and watches me that the Libertarian Party has a lot of diversity, and we are one of the most open-minded parties out there. We're inclusive, and we're the party for reasonable people that want to see our government working again instead of this constant overreach on both sides and overspending and overextending our government. So I'm going to get into what I think about the original Roe versus Wade decision, because I went through and read it because I'd never read it before. And as I understand it, it was backed up and based on the 9th and 14th Amendment, and based on a person's right to privacy. So the decision was made saying that a woman has a right to privacy under the Constitution, and if she has that right to privacy, then a state can't overrule that right because it's written in our Constitution. Now, where the debate is whether or not the 9th and 14th Amendment actually imply that you have a right to privacy, because it's not clearly spelled out. But as I read through their decision, I aligned with their position because I read through the amendments, and I do believe that it implies that we have a right to privacy. But the current court's decision, the current Supreme Court decision on Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health, I wrote some notes on my blog, but some of the three key factors on how they made their decision was, one, the court reviews the standard that the court cases have used to determine whether the 14th Amendment's reference to liberty protects a particular right. So that was their one argument. And that one, everybody may have their own opinion on that, but I believe the Roe versus Wade decision was correct as far as a woman's right to privacy. The second factor was the court examines whether the right to obtain abortion is rooted in the nation's history and tradition, and whether it's an essential component of ordered liberty. And this is where they decided that we didn't have a history and tradition of abortion, although it's been a right to have an abortion since I've been alive. So I think that they completely ignored current history and went backwards in time to make the decision fit their opinions. The third part of their ruling was the court considers whether a right to obtain an abortion is part of a broader entrenched right that is supported by other precedents. And that one I clearly feel that they got wrong. There are precedents that support this. And my biggest issue with this overruling is that this has been in place for 50 years. And when they made this decision, I believe, I encourage you to read the decision from beginning to end. And if you are a pro-lifer, you're probably going to see their point of view. But if you're objective and neutral, you can probably read through it and see that the decision clearly came from, they had the votes, so they made it. And their decision was to flip over Roe versus Wade simply because they had the votes to do it, whether or not their decision was backed up by the Constitution in previous precedents or not. And that's where I'm concerned. I think they've set a dangerous trend, and we've been doing that more and more as the two-party system fights. And the problem is not our Constitution or our three branches of government or how our Constitution is supposed to operate. It's because we have a two-party system that now completely ignores our Constitution and makes rulings based on what their party wants. And if we don't fix that problem in our country, this is going to keep happening. In 2022, the Democrats may very well vote out state leadership to get abortion laws changed on their state level. And then in 2024, the Republicans may come back to fight. What I'm seeing is this constantly growing shift in party politics, and if we don't fix that, we're going to keep having dangerous overreach and dangerous decisions made, which is why I'm talking and trying to get people to come to the reasonable side, the middle ground side, to the libertarian side, where we care about your rights, your money, your freedom, and have moderate and reasonable views. We're not extreme right or alt-right, and we're not extreme progressives. We're reasonable people that believe that you know what decisions are best for your life, you know how to manage your own life, and don't need the government to do it for you, and that the government's overreach causes more problems than they solve. And that's kind of my message. I want to get people to see that this overruling on the Supreme Court was largely due to our two-party system, and draw you over to the Libertarian Party, where we're a little bit more pragmatic and reasonable. So if you are interested remotely in the Libertarian Party, please stop by Patty for Liberty or join my Facebook group. I don't care if you're a Libertarian or a Republican or a Democrat or don't know what you are. I want you to come join my group and get to know me and my style of libertarians who are reasonable and what I think this country's looking for. So thank you for listening to my not so perfect video on abortion. Please stop by pattyforliberty.com and get to know more people in the Libertarian Party that I think you might actually find you like.